I'll obviously keep it to a minimal, but
Say that one more time.
like swearing. I mean, I just heard a fuck, so is that all
What
right?
fuck kind of Steven? Come on. No, say whatever you want. Literally, I also just hit record, so you can
All right, cool.
just obviously don't say anything that would get us canceled or get you canceled. But
Yes, yes.
we're live, so I'm gonna roll with this. But
Yeah, let's do it.
so Steven Rodriguez, up and coming. I'm gonna say up and coming only because I haven't been listening to you that long. But I want to get into your story in a second. But newer artist, as we told our listeners over the past couple weeks, we were going to start breaking into the music world. So I've been doing this show for a little over 2 years. I just brought Q on permanently recently. So I've done 100 and some odd of these interviews, and Q's done, I don't know, 3. But Steven, welcome to the show again. Thank you. First of all, as I like to say to everybody, thank you for your time, because you don't have to give it to us, but you chose to. I would love for you to just take a minute or two and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell the listeners who you are. Tell us why you do what you do. And then we've got some questions we want to ask you, because this isn't just about you. It's about us. So take a couple minutes.
All right. Well, first off, I want to thank you guys for having me on. It's a pleasure. And as we were talking before, it's my first pretty much ever official interview, so that's pretty exciting for me.
So can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
I know this is your first interview, but did you listen to any of the previous episodes of the show?
I saw that you interviewed David Tyree, and I immediately had to click that one. I'm a huge Giants fan, so I listened to that episode. It was great.
Okay, sweet. Because I was about to bust your balls so hard if you didn't even listen to one. But carry on.
No, I did my homework.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So my name is Steven Rodriguez. I'm I would say up and coming also, so don't feel bad about that. Blues musician. Um, I've been singing ever since I was a little kid. I pretty much got into this sort of scene like 2 years ago. Um, Always never really knew what genre I wanted to sing, just because my music taste is all over the place. But blues kind of stuck with me, and I feel like my voice suited it well. So started doing that about 2 years ago, and ever since it's been taking off pretty well for me. And yeah, I love doing it, and I've been able to make it my full-time job, and it doesn't even feel like a job. It's like the best blessing in the world. So
Well,
Go ahead,
as a
Andy.
guy,
Sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say so Q and I are both fitness guys. You could probably tell on him more than me. But so, like when you talk about like having a job that's not really a job, I think both of us can definitely relate to that. But what stuck out to me, and again, when I found your music by accident, shout out to my guy Teddy Swims for his radio station putting me onto your music. So Teddy, Jaden, whatever you want me to call you, we're still waiting for you to come on the show. But blues has always been something I've been drawn to. I get drawn to voices that have like power, but a gentleness about them as well. And that's exactly what I thought of when I heard your music. So first thing I want to get into, and then I want Q to take a little bit here, but where did your inspiration to follow that, like your genre and follow your vocal pattern come from? Like, did you grow up listening to a bunch of, like blues musicians, were you like a John Lee Hooker guy, for example? And then like, how did that resonate with you and allow you to keep going forward with, what you found in your own voice?
Right. So, yeah, I think it all stems back to my dad. Honestly, he put me on to like so much great music from pretty much every decade, from like the 40s till like current stuff. But a couple of artists that come to mind are like Ray Charles, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Johnny Lang, Stevie Wonder. So a bunch of those guys, and I would like listen to them and be like, they add this such cool rasp and tone to their music, and it seems so like involved, like emotionally, and it seemed like something that I like really like love doing, and I found an attraction to it. And I figured out maybe a couple years ago that I could actually do some of that like raspy stuff with my voice. I never really realized it until probably like a year or two ago. But yeah, those guys were some huge inspirations, and that really evolved my love for music.
Well, I'm glad you kind of followed or started this interview with explaining your genre or who you are, because I was talking to Andy and I was like, man, I do not know where I would classify you. Of course, I'm not a music professional by any means, but it does seem like you kind of pull from multiple different genres. So, uh, and I'm also, I want to step back for a second. I'm also super surprised you've only been like singing professionally for 2 years. Is that what you mean by that, or like your job for 2 years? I guess that's
So
kind of the same question.
yeah, so like I've been singing pretty much all my life, and I was in like choir and stuff like that, and but I really only started doing it like professionally, like putting out music on Spotify for like 2 years, like Spotify, Apple Music, all this that stuff for 2 years.
That's wild. And I mean, would you say that you have a pretty, I mean, your following, I'm just looking at Spotify, but your following is pretty gigantic for 2 years, in my opinion. I mean, I don't
Pretty
know.
big.
It seems like it is.
Yeah, so like I know like I like to compare myself a lot, which is a terrible thing to do, but I also think it keeps me well driven at some points, you know. So like comparatively speaking to most artists, it's very like very very fast. Like I know some artists that have been doing it for like their whole lives, like 15 plus years that and I've like surpassed. So that's a
That is
really cool
fantastic.
thing. I'm
Well, I
lucky.
mean, I wouldn't say luck. I mean, obviously you've worked hard for, I mean,
Yeah.
there is luck to everything, right? But you said you worked hard and have been singing for all of these years. But uh, I would say you definitely have this God-given talent, or whatever you'd like to call it. When
Thank
did
you.
you figure that out? Like when were you like, oh, like this is a like this I have a thing here.
Right. So probably before first put out I put out a cover of No Diggity.
Was
Um
just gonna ask about that.
yeah, so that's when I first realized that I could like actually sing. So like my whole life I was like I'm just a mediocre singer, and sometimes I still think that. But when I put that out and I got like the response from like fans and stuff like that about it, I realized that hey, maybe this is something that I could do, you know.
So you want to hear something funny about that, Steve? That's my so I have two kids. I'm a dad of a soon to be 7 year old and a 5 year old. That's
Congratulations.
my thank you. That's my son, my oldest favorite song right now is your cover of No Diggity.
No way, really?
I
That's
I shit you
hilarious.
I shit you not, hand on my heart. Every time we're in the car, I usually give them control of Spotify. Hence why Nick D was my Spotify Artist of the Year. But who's great, by the way. I'm not saying that in a bad
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
But
he's great.
yeah, now every time my son's name is Riker. Now every time Riker is in the car and I say, "Hey, buddy, what do you want to listen to?" He says, "Can you put on No Diggity?"
Oh man. That's the best. That means so much too because I feel like that was a big thing. I got a lot of like messages on TikTok when I first dropped that, and like videos of like parents filming their kids dancing to it, which is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So when I heard that song, and I think I messaged you when we were talking on Instagram about Shackles specifically, but like the thing I notice is like when you hit, like when you rip a couple bars and that raspy, the power comes out of your voice. Like I know we've talked like when you found your talent and everything like that, but there had to be a point where like you felt like you could really hammer out a couple bars in the bluesy tone that you have. And so like, for example, when I was in athletics, right? Like I knew there was a point where I found out what I was good at because something happened. For me, baseball, I was pitching, I was throwing in the low 80s as a freshman in high school.
Right.
Football, I was just bigger and like to hit people, right? Like I kind of found that, oh, this is fun. So was there a moment like when you were maybe like singing at home or practicing, or if you were at like a club or something, and you ripped one of those bars like Shackles or New Diggity or No Diggity or whatever it may be, and you were just like, holy shit, like you even surprised yourself?
Yeah, I think it was like I remember this moment specifically because it was it's one of my favorite songs ever. It's by an artist Johnny Lang, who's a blues artist, as I mentioned before. One of my favorite artists, and one of his songs he's got is called "Lie to Me," and he's got some like really raspy stuff in that song. And when I would sing along to it, was like hitting these notes, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds actually pretty good." So yeah, it was in my parents' basement. Just literally crank the shit up all the way, jamming out. I got a couple noise complaints, but it was well worth it because I discovered that I could do it, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
love it.
mean,
Go
random pivot. I just have to know in the middle, like your biggest inspiration. You kind of touched on. So you said Johnny Lang. You said Steve Ray Vaughan. By the way, my dad's favorite artist is Steve Ray Vaughan. He's got
Love it.
he's got a tattoo on his arm. It's kind of weird actually. But anyway, sorry, Dad, if he's listening. But
not weird.
okay, so like collaboration, obviously huge in the space, and from what I understand, again, I know nothing about music, but you see a lot of people when they collab with an artist that maybe is well known, and then they kind of take off. Have you gotten those opportunities? Maybe something you couldn't say, or did you have a dream collaboration or something like that?
Yeah, I personally haven't collaborated with an artist that's like bigger than me. I would say
Talk
if
your
I
shit.
could, yeah, where are they at?
Yeah.
But if I could collaborate with somebody, a guy that's also up and coming right now is he goes by Mr. Liam St. John. Guy's got an incredible voice. He's in the blues space also. He's a guy that I would like to collaborate with. But I mean, Johnny Lang, unfortunately, is like his voice like went like a couple years ago, and my mom and my sister actually went to go see him at like one of his very last shows. But he's a guy that I always wanted to collaborate with, and I feel like at this point I probably could if he was still making music. But yeah, right now it's just kind of doing my own thing. I got to collaborate with a really really good artist. Her name's Lena a couple months ago. I think she only had one or two songs out on Spotify at the time, but I heard her voice and I was like, just like she belongs on a song. And
Yeah.
we had the perfect thing work out, and we got it done. So
Where do you reside right now?
I'm in New
If you don't
York
mind.
City.
Okay, so that's a big. I assume that's a big hub for music, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great for like live shows, which I'm looking to get into. But yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
then that was my next question. Do you so you don't do live shows, but you're trying to at the moment?
Yeah, I think starting next year, I'm trying to put together a live band and get like a booking agent for some venues and stuff like that. But right now, just kind of laying low.
You seem so calm, cool, collected. That's got to be super exciting. Like that's a
Oh
big
yeah,
deal.
oh yeah. I did one show in New York City. I opened for my buddy last April, and it was in front of a decent crowd. It was like 100 and like 30, 140 people, and that was super like exhilarating. I've done like gigs at like bars and restaurants and stuff like that, but nothing like with that many people in one space. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Was that? Sorry, Andy. One more question, I promise. Was that more or less nerve wracking than the small, intimate crowds?
Uh, I think it's more at first, like when you first look at it and you're seeing that many people in the audience, but then it's just like everybody's like so loud and you're loud also, so it's really like go with the flow and the crowd's get into it. But it's I think when you're performing with smaller crowds and it's super quiet and you're just the main focus of attention, it gets very intimidating.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
feels like
makes sense.
everyone's staring and judging at you.
Exactly, exactly.
So speaking of stuff like that, like one of I'm a sucker for a success story. I don't know, I gravitate towards like, the underdog who makes it, the person who's counted out, all that stuff. Not saying that's you, but in general, like I love success stories. One of my favorite success stories from the past like year or two has been an artist like Jelly Roll, right? Goes from
Right,
white trash rap to kind of like rocky rap, bluesy, weird combination of all sort of things to country.
right.
Biggest country artist of the year right now.
Yeah,
And what I thought was so cool about that was, one of my favorite videos of him is when he got asked to play the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, hometown, biggest arena for music around the area. If we switch it over to you, you obviously have like Madison Square Garden and stuff like that.
right.
So if you were to look at, someone like his story and, kind of look at what your ascension point might be, is it that MSG platform, or is it just, you are able to reach as many people as possible? Like, here's what I'm gonna try to ask you. Is your ascension point like, hey, I fucking made it, or hey, I'm making music that touches a lot of people and I'm grateful for it, or is it a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I love like just going on Spotify. Like they have a Spotify for artists thing where you can look at all your like stats and stuff like that. I just love going on the app and seeing like, oh, 750 people listening right now. Like that's the coolest thing in the world to me. It's just like people, so many people like to listen to my music and enjoy listening to my music, and I get feedback from it that it helped them in some way or shape or form, and that's like the biggest reward ever. But also like some of the more tangible stuff, like what you said with Madison Square Garden. I think one that I really want to do, I don't know if you heard of it, is Jones Beach on Long Island.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Long Island, and that's one place that that's like the top of the top for me, is to perform there just in front of like my hometown. It would be so cool.
So like next year.
Yeah.
Next year. Yeah, no, I think I got a little bit longer of a way to go, but I
Yeah,
mean, if
like
everything keeps going the way
yeah,
it's
like
going, hopefully soon.
but
What's that?
I'm just guessing.
I said, what the fuck are you waiting for? Just do it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how that works.
But
Yeah, right.
it's funny, like, and I asked that question like obviously in jest, but looking at the stories that you see of artists and kind of when they reach that pinnacle, like I always look at it from two sides, right? I look at it from the side of you've reached the top of your thing, you have, like you said, the Spotify for artists, you can see how many people are listening to your music. I still can't believe as many people listen to this fucking shows as they do, honestly.
Right.
um, like I started this out of my bedroom in my old house, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't studio, my mic that I normally use that I wear is acting up, so I'm just talking right now.
Right.
um, but when you have an effect, whether it be positive, negative, humorous, whatever, on people, that is something to not take for granted. But on the other side, you obviously have, it's your job, you want to make money out of it,
Right.
you want to make a career out of it. So I asked that in jest but in seriousness, because we all want to reach the top of something, financially, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be. So when you look at like your year of 2023 and the growth that you've had, um I'm a numbers guy. So if you look at it from like, hey, I grew this much, like, did you project yourself to be where you're at now? Did you exceed it? Are you, kind of like still kind of like that? What is going on? Why are this many people like enjoying my music type of thing? Like, where do you sit at this moment as we, end this year?
Yeah, right. Like right now, it still feels surreal, and I did not project it at all. Um, I have a, I have a whiteboard like at my old house, with a bunch of goals, and I don't like to set the bar too high. I like to do something that I feel like is attainable, and
Hmm.
then try to aim for that, and then you can always keep going up and up. But yeah, I surpassed it in like 2 months of writing it down, and that was for like the entirety of the year. And yeah, I think I had to set it like I wanted like 3 million streams for the whole year,
Yeah.
and then
You have
and
like,
then
I just looked,
because
you have like 7 million of your latest song or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, so I had 1 million the year before. That's how many I got the full year, and then I did 20.6 million this past year, which was just blew it out of the water, and I did not expect it at all. But it was the coolest thing, and it felt so much better because I set the bar at what I thought was a good level, and it just like exploded, which is awesome.
Yeah, you did good.
That, 10x it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
some
it's
some would
crazy.
say that's very good. I don't know. I'm not a numbers
Yeah,
guy
right.
like Andy. But are you looking to stay this independent route? Because that's like
Yeah.
I'm a big rap guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't look like it, but I
Fat Boy,
I what'd you say?
Fat Boy Red.
Yeah, that's my rap name. No, I'm a big rap guy, and the talk of the town in the rap um, in the rap environment is stay independent, right? Just because
Right.
these deals, whether I don't know, again, whether it be shady or too bad or not enough money or the splits, blah blah blah. Is that what you're looking to do?
Yeah, for sure. Going to rap, like you said, Russ is, if you know Russ,
Yeah.
is like one of my biggest like inspirations, like idol as a music artist. And I see his videos all the time, just like stay independent, own all your stuff. And it's really crazy. Like I don't think musicians who are up and coming realize how much money you can actually make off of it owning 100% of your stuff. And you don't have to do crazy numbers either. You can do moderate numbers and still make a really good living for yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
And
to
that's
your
what
point. Oh,
I
sorry.
was
Go ahead.
saying. That's what, the guy we just talked about. That's what Jelly Roll did for the longest time. He
Right.
owns his masters, right? And I I like learning a lot, so like I appreciate that you're sharing some stuff with us. And one of the things I learned from listening to him was he was talking about how the record deals work, with the percentages that the artist gets versus, the interest, the payback, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, I wouldn't have known that. I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm a hip hop guy too. I love all music, but I will always say that I grew up listening to hip hop music.
Right.
And you see people decked out in chains, watches, cars, houses. You assume this, but you don't
Yeah.
see the end of how they actually made it because they're, for lack of better words, kind of getting fucked by the record company.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Or the
They're
line.
they're absolutely getting fucked, and a lot of people don't realize that they get a loan up front, and that's where all
right,
the jewelry and all the cars and the houses are coming from. You got to pay that back
right,
Yeah, they're
eventually.
lying first.
Right. And if you don't pay it back, then you're fucked, and then you got like a $1 million loan that you got to pay back because your album didn't do too hot, and you're back to like bare bones.
yeah,
And Russ puts out music at such a high clip. I'm pretty familiar with Russ, and
Yeah.
that's very hard. And maybe some people look at that like, oh, that's not obtainable. But like, not many people are making. And I know this because he posts his pay stub or whatever. But not many
Right.
people are making $30 million a month making
Yeah.
music.
yeah.
But that definitely starts with owning your own stuff, I assume. So that's really cool. To I mean, it's got to be a percent of a percent of a percent of people that can make a living making music. So it's got to feel good already.
Well,
Um,
think about it this way, Q. Like with this podcast, right? Like I own all of it. I've been on a network before. I was a part of a sports network for a while back before life got crazy and I stopped doing them for 6 months. But I,
Okay.
so and
Was
that was
that?
what's that?
Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was a part of a sports network with this show for a while, and I owned everything because they had in their agreement like, do you, if you want to own all of your agreement, then you're on X. If you want to own, if you want to give your IP to this network, then it's this. And I was like, no, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but like I want mine in case I leave and I don't have
Yeah.
to fight you or pay you because like, I wasn't making a ton of money off of it, but it was like enough money that it was fun and stuff like that. So,
Right.
and obviously the vision is to make it as big as possible and own 100% of it all because I don't want somebody picking this up and being like, oh, this jerk off, interviewed Steven Rodriguez in 2023 and now he's the biggest artist in 2025, foreshadowing. And well, it can't play. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, I want this. This is that dude's first interview. Like, I want this to be mine. We just had an Olympian on the show last week and her first interview as well. I'm like, I want that to be mine.
Right.
And it's like, so I resonate with you obviously to a different extent, not to the same level you're on yet, but like I resonate when you talk about owning it, and I hear these artists talking about whether if they don't own their masters and like what they have to do to get their music back. I mean, Motley Crue is a great example of what they had to do to get their music back. So like when you talk about Russ and like the I don't like calling them like TikTokers in the music world, but like
Yeah.
the up and coming independent artists, like, and you show your support to the community, right? Like in anything, like there's always the saying of there's enough to go around for everybody, no matter what you're in.
Right.
Do you choose to, kind of side with those independent artists and the people that are in your space more closely versus like the bigger names who have kind of like already popped and, kind of, doing their thing, doing their $30 million a month? Or is it just kind of like, whoever makes your ears go, all right, I'm good. Like, where do you show allegiance in any way? Or is it just, hey, I'm a musician, I'm going to support any artist that's out there?
Right. No, I think in certain aspects, like I support just musicians in general, and I think it's super cool if you're creating something and putting it out into the world for other people to enjoy, and you get to do that for a living. But on the other hand, I am pushing for. I think that I think I feel like if you have talent and you can sing or you can rap or you can produce or whatever, you can make it in the music business if you try hard enough. You're going to get told no a million times. And the thing is, a lot of these independent musicians, independent artists are getting that one opportunity where something blows up big time, and then they automatically just sell it all. You know what I mean? Or they go sign with the record label. And I think that I'm a firm believer that nobody in this world really wants a boss, right? Who the hell wants a boss? So if the main goal was to work for yourself and do it all, why are you signing all of your stuff away to a record label where on the flip side they're going to come and turn around and tell you exactly what to do? We need you to put out a video now. We want you to make this song. Hey, we don't like this song. We're taking it off the album.
Mm.
So I'm a firm believer in the independent artists, and I think that a lot of people don't realize that they can actually succeed in doing this on their own.
So what you're saying is, Q, you can start rapping. You can get Fat Boy Red out there.
You could start rapping.
I tried to write. You don't want to hear my rap.
I'm sure they're not that bad.
Oh, trust me. I'm gonna pivot. What are you listening to right now, Steven? Steven, what do you prefer?
Steve's fine.
Steve, what are you listening to right now?
Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up my phone. Like you want an artist or
Like what was your rap top 5?
My rap top 5 was hold on, I can go and check that right now. I'm pretty sure Russ was definitely number 1 because I listened to a ton of Russ. Shout out Russ. And then I think it was Michael Jackson.
Love it.
And Johnny Lang. I'm trying to find it right now. But those were definitely top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Those were definitely the top 3. What I'm listening to now, though, is actually another independent. You know, Joey Valance and Bray. They're kind of up and coming rap. They do like Beastie Boys style stuff. It's so sick, and they're like young kids. They're like 20, 21 years old. They're incredible. But yeah, I listen to pretty much everything.
I would say that's very eclectic. That's all over the place. Holy cow!
Yeah, I could go on for hours, but it's just like a mosh posh of everything.
Here's what I'm curious about, and so do you have a significant other?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys are in the car together,
yep.
Who sings better in the car?
She's better singing in the car.
You just have to say that, right?
I'm saying it and I'm swearing by it.
Hey, I'm.
Blink twice if you're in danger.
Yeah, right. But so and that brings me to something else too. Like, you know, when you are, you know, making new music and you have, so like, again, being a fitness guy, like one of the things I always, either an athlete or a general fitness client of mine, is who's your support system, right? Like, it's not just going to be me, like who outside of me is going to support you in either your athletic journey or your fitness journey to get healthy. So like, you have her, you know, what role play for you when it comes to your music? Like, is she like a test dummy with ears for, and I'm not saying this in an insulting way, but is she like your test ears? Like, how does she fuel you to like say, hey, okay, I'm gonna roll with this, or be like, dude, that's ass, like don't do that?
Right. No, yeah, I definitely ask her a ton of questions. I overload her with questions about like, hey, should I say this in a song? Should I do this? How does this sound? Whatnot. And she's also like on the flip side, like an inspiration for some of the songs too. So,
okay, I gotta stop you right there because I wrote in the notes.
Yeah.
I wrote in the notes. I was like, "Who is this woman that you're talking about?" And who hurt you? That's what I like. I literally wrote that. I deleted that today because I'm like, that's inappropriate. I don't know if the dude's going to be, you know, fun or not or whatever. So
yeah.
You say that. That's good.
No, she's only inspiration for the good stuff. I pull stuff from other people's lives that are around me and stuff like that. But she's only the good stuff.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's cool. That's awesome. Okay, so you know she's your inspiration. She's kind of your tester. So what would you say ballpark, like out of 10? How many times does she say like, cut that?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. She doesn't say it very often. What she'll do is kind of like deflect it towards something else. So she's not technically saying no. She'll just be like, try this instead, or maybe think about it again, you know?
Or
she'll
how
never
do
come
you
out and just
feel?
say no. Yeah, yeah. How do you? Are you sure about this?
Yeah,
No,
like,
she's
oh, thanks. I know what that
The
means.
the
Yeah.
passive way of saying that sucks.
yeah, yeah. No,
Uh,
she's very good at giving criticism without it feeling like criticism. So
does she have background in music?
no, she just
Awesome.
loves music. She listens to a ton of music, but she doesn't have really much background like playing instruments or singing.
No, I think that's cool, and obviously, like a lot of that's jest, but like you
Right.
know, you know as well as I do, as well as any of us do, like the importance of the support system. To be honest, to be brutally honest, is key. You know, you can't just have
Yeah.
somebody brown nosing you all the time and being like, "Yeah, you're great." No, I'd rather have you be like, "Dude, that sucks. Like, don't do that."
Right. Right.
Which brings me to another thought that I just had. Like, when you're putting out a song, so let's Devil Wears Lace. You just put that out kind of recently, right?
Yeah, it was this past year. I think it was in like I think it was last February, but
Yeah.
yeah, recently.
When you were putting that out and you hit upload or whatever you guys hit, I just hit upload episode when I do these. Whatever you hit, whatever you hit. How long, if at all, is the period of fuck? Is this going to be good, or is it just like that's a banger?
Right. So for me, I always test the waters on social media.
Sure.
And if the song responds well, then I know that it's gonna be a banger. If it doesn't respond well and I still like am super proud of the song, I'm gonna go with it anyway and just hope that it finds the right audience.
Yeah.
But for the Devil Wears Lace in specific, everybody on TikTok loved it. Everybody on Instagram loved it. My family, friends, they were like, "This is the best shit you've ever put out." And I was just at the time, I was just like, "Yeah, this is. I feel like this is going to be good." So I had a good feeling about that. And like you said, the support system around me was very like building me up about that song. So
Nice.
Do
yeah,
you like social media?
Ooh, good question.
I do and I don't. I think it's such a good way to get yourself out there in ways that you weren't able to, like back in the
I
day.
feel you wouldn't be able, as an up and coming artist, excuse me for cutting you off,
No
you
problem.
wouldn't be able to survive nowadays, would you? I mean, do you think if you didn't do social media?
Right. No, I don't think so. I think that's where most people are getting their content from nowadays, you know? I mean, even me, like I fall into the habit of it sometimes where I'm just like scrolling on TikTok for like I find myself like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? But that's what people
Where am
do.
I?
that's
No,
that's
it
what
is.
people do. So I mean, if you're putting your stuff out there for the most eyes to see, social media is the way to go.
Do you ever have any like imposter syndrome? So I know even like so I've been training. I've done other things in the fitness industry, but I've been certified as a trainer or coach, whatever you want to call it, for almost 15 years. And like I'm really confident in what I do.
Right.
Uh, but there are times where like it's not like a nervous thing, but it's just like should I say this? Should I not? Do you ever have any like imposter syndrome that you deal with, or any social anxieties or anything like that?
Um, yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, you mean like putting out like a song or something like that? Like, do I feel like,
Yeah, I mean, like just in general. Like, by the way, I need to play this back when we're done because I just farted and I think the mic picked it up.
leave it in?
Uh, but no, like in general, like so for example, a new coach can have some imposter syndrome on like their confidence level of taking somebody through what I call an assessment workout, where we're looking at your joints, your body, your muscles in a mechanical viewpoint, how things move, where they should grab, so on, so on.
Right.
There's young people who can feel like they're not ready to do that.
Mhm.
uh, you being an up and coming artist, you have 20 fucking 1 million people have listened to your shit, so you're obviously good at what you do. But like, have you ever dealt with any of that, like any sort of like am I good enough type of anxiety feeling?
Yeah, I think like sometimes like I'll have a bad day and I'll step in here and get on the mic and just like have a bad day and just like I didn't get anything that I wanted to get done and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, is this like, and I'd have to take a step back and think like, oh, there's a ton of people that like to listen to it, and you know what, I'll eventually get there. But yeah, there's definitely days where I'm just like, am I good enough to actually do this? For sure. Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes. So
Yeah. Yeah.
fuck out there.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a New York guy. You're a Giants fan. I got to ask, what is
Here
your?
we go.
Huh?
I said, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's hear it.
We're gonna get into it. Two questions. One, is
Okay.
Eli actually a Hall of Famer? And two, what is your favorite sports? How old are you, by the way?
26.
God damn. What is your favorite sports moment in your lifetime? We're a big sports show. Where's Q's right there? We're
Yeah,
big
yeah.
sports guys. So, what's your favorite sporting event in your lifetime? And is Eli Manning actually a Hall of Famer? There is a correct answer.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying my least favorite sporting event because it just happened. I went to that Giants Cowboys opener, and that was brutal. In the pouring rain, just getting their asses kicked. We looked so good on the first drive, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a good season." All went to shit immediately. So that was the worst. As far as the best, it's got to be that Giants 2007 Super Bowl,
Yeah.
just because it was. I remember watching it with my dad and my brother, and it was like the coolest bonding moment. And they were huge underdogs. I think they finished the season 9-7, and
David
winning the Super
Tyree.
Bowl. David Tyree, yeah,
Shout out my
yeah. But no, that was probably my favorite sports moments. I'll put it all together. That just playoff run and Super Bowl win was incredible. And then Eli Manning is absolutely 100% a Hall of Famer. I'll stand by that till I die.
Oh, the first wrong thing you've said all day.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
I think I go back and forth with it too. I think I have to agree with Steve. I mean, he beat Tom Brady twice, man. I don't know.
He's the better brother on the Manning cast, that's for sure. He's hysterical.
Oh, I thought you were talking about overall quarterback for a second. I almost got really angry.
Yeah, me too. I got scared for a
Holy
second.
cow.
I'm a Giants fan, but not that big of a Giants fan.
On the Manning cast, he is brother A on that. He is awesome.
Yeah.
So you love football. You like sports. I mean, I feel like if you're in New York or the East Coast, you have to. What else do you like to do? Like, who are you as a person? You obviously like to sing. You like to scroll TikTok for an hour and a half, and you like Giants football. What else do you like to do?
Yeah. I feel like pretty much all normal stuff. I like to work out. I like to go on runs. I like to play video games. You know, I'm 26-year-old, 5-year-old, still play video games. But
Everyone plays video games.
yeah, I like to.
I was
I
literally
like to hang.
before we started.
What were you playing?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, nice.
Yeah.
Mario Kart's a classic, especially when you get a beer involved. But
Oh yeah.
Out of that,
What's your favorite lift? And it's bicep curls, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's bicep curls. I feel like
That was a compliment. I think you have big biceps. That's a compliment.
thank you.
I'm not hitting on you either.
I think triceps are my favorite muscle to hit. I like dips a lot,
Oh,
like
okay.
seated dips. It feels very rewarding afterwards. I like.
We are okay. We are like I said, or I guess Andy said at the top of the cast. We are technically a fitness podcast, technically.
Right.
So we have to ask that.
we don't have a camera, but we're fitness guys.
Right. Fitness guys. You're right.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna take us into one of our. We just do two segments here, and one of our segments that is fairly new to the show. I like to call it gas or pass. And no, it's not the gas that came out of my ass 6 minutes ago. Gas or pass, meaning like what in this past week. So from today back to last Tuesday, has gassed you up, has fired you up, or if you've seen something that you're like, fuck that, or heard something that you just kind of like, yeah, I'm good. I don't ever want to do that again. So like, has there been anything in the past week that's really like, fired you up or fueled you other than the 21 million streams? We obviously know that, but other than that,
right. Yeah. I think, seeing my family this past week was really, really gassed me up. We unfortunately had a tragedy, and everybody coming together and everybody hanging out, having a good time, no matter the circumstance. It was really cool to see. And since I live in the city now, I'm a little bit separated from my family. Not too much, but I don't get to see them as often, obviously. But yeah, that was super cool to see all my aunts and my uncles and everybody in one place having a good time. So that gassed me up for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Back to the New York thing,
Yeah,
and this is gonna tell me a lot about you. What's your favorite food?
food. I'm a wings guy.
Oh, I love it.
I love wings. Yeah, but anything with buffalo sauce on it, pretty much I'll eat. But huge
Flat,
wings guy. What's that?
flats or sticks?
I'm a drumstick.
Yes.
Yeah, flats. I don't like to fight for my food. You know, I like to have it all presented to me in one bite, one swift bite.
That's well, me being a Chicago, I'm from the Chicago area.
Okay.
Uh, I actually prefer New York style pizza, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I like the big floppy, fold it, eat it. Chicago
Yeah.
style, New York style's better. So I will say that I'll put that onto the world right now.
Right.
Uh, the other thing we do, and I started this a long time ago, and obviously when I brought Q in, he's a part of it now too. But the title of the show, Sane Podcast, it's a play on words of my favorite show, Seinfeld. So show about nothing and everything is what the acronym stands for. But the word sane, you know, what keeps you sane going throughout your day? You've kind of mentioned your girlfriend, you've mentioned, music as just like a cathartic, form of energy. Like what keeps you in a mindset of like, I'm good. I'm Steve. I woke up like I'm ready to do whatever I got to do today. Like I'm not going to let this day get away from me.
Yeah. I actually think it's my puppy. Honestly, yeah, we have a Boston Terrier, and he's the cutest little thing. But I feel like that step back from reality for me, and I step out of this booth and I go out and I can hang out with him for a couple minutes and just forget about everything, and then feel like when I step back in here, I'm a totally new person version of myself. So yeah, he's 10 months old. His name is Dobby, cutest little guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I need you to do me a favor because Q has a puppy too, and he does this thing. His puppy's name's Ham. We need daily Ham. We get daily Ham for like 2 days, and then he fucks around, doesn't show his dog on social media.
Really?
He's right behind me. He's eating a bone, and it's really loud, so that's why I muted. I'm trying not to make a noise, but he's pretty cute too. But I'll try to grab him at some point, but he'll run away.
That
Okay. Yeah. I think my little guy's out on a walk right now with my girlfriend, but yeah, that. What kind of dog is it?
He's a pit bull mix.
Pit mix.
He's very cute. He's half. Yeah, he's 6 months years old. He's 6 months old.
yeah.
Oh wow, he's
So
a baby.
yeah, he's like triple this size. So he's like 40 pounds now, which is he's a little tank. And to only ready to keep him shut up for an hour when my wife's gone is to give him a bone, and he's being loud. So I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I totally get it. Trust me.
Well, Steve, man, this has been awesome, honestly. Like, second week in a row of getting somebody to do their first interview who I'm really surprised. And for you to take the time, we are really appreciative. I want to give you the next couple minutes to, or next 2 minutes to just kind of like, if you've got anything up and coming, if there's any nugget you can drop. If you can't drop it, that's totally fine. But like, the floor is yours. Plug yourself. Where can people find you, your music, your social media, and get to know you a little bit?
Right. Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm Steven Rodriguez Jr. Jr. Um, Pretty sure it's the same on TikTok. And then you can find me on any streaming service like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music as just Steven Rodriguez. As far as upcoming projects, I actually just recorded for a musical, like an album concept musical that's coming out. The next saga is coming out on Christmas. I'm playing Poseidon, which is a pretty cool thing to do. So that comes out on the 25th, and I'm working on a new song right now. Actually, just working on it today. Coming out probably in a couple weeks, but
It's
still
called The
fine tuning
Letter.
some stuff. The letter, yeah, the
Yeah,
letter.
I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. I stepped back from my normal, my normal stuff and wrote like kind of like a sad like ballad song, which I kind of wanted to step into more. But yeah, really cool.
Well, I mean, you're basically a teenager, so it's like angsty teenager,
Man, I feel way older than a teenager. What's going on?
Dude, I'm 35, man. You're a kid.
Oh
You're
boy.
you're young too. What are you talking about?
Andy's old. He's old fart. He can't control his bowels. He can't work his camera or his microphone. I don't know what's going on.
I'm having an old guy day. Before we let you go,
Yeah.
Can you rip a couple bars from No Diggity for us?
Oh man.
You put him on the spot. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
Can I play something? Can I play something from the song that I'm working on? I got it up in front of me.
Oh yeah,
Just
sure.
on my computer.
Let's do that.
Is that all right? Okay, cool.
Sick.
All
Let's
right,
go.
we'll do that.
It's called The Letter?
Yeah, it's called The Letter. I'll just play something
The
really
Letter.
quick from it.
All right, y'all nerds out there getting a sneak peek, so you're welcome.
I hope the audio quality is all right. Wrote it in a letter, and nothing was the same. If only I could let it go. I never know that day. See, there's something better come along the way. Feeling I would never know, 'cause it took you so to stay. Hope you never, ever, ever feel the pain that you had to carry home. Only heaven knows you're safe. So I send a letter every time it rains. I feel you trying to let me know that you miss it all the same. I'll keep on trying to call out your name. There's a little secret.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
I'll clap. I'll give it a clap.
I appreciate that.
Very talented.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you very much.
And those of you that are listening and haven't heard his music, that is, like you said, very different from what I'm used to from you, I guess. Like I've been listening forever, but very fantastic, super talented. Holy cow!
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Talked before we got on here. It's got a very like Teddy Swims aspect to it, to his new album that came out.
His new album is so good.
It's incredible.
Oh my God.
It really is
so good. He's just got one of the most insane voices I've ever heard. He did a cover of I'm trying to remember what song it was. I think it was a Journey song, maybe.
Oh yeah, Stop Believing, the one where he did it.
Oh, it was Don't Stop Believing.
Wild,
insane. He could turn any song into his own. It's crazy.
Funny,
talented guy.
Funny story before we let you go is the first time I saw him, my ex-wife and I were walking through the crowd, and I had probably 4 or 5 people literally grab me and be like, "Are you Teddy's twin brother?" Like, no, I'm just some dude here to see a show, man. Like,
that's so funny. I'm sure, especially at the concert, you're gonna get that a ton.
Well, I DM'd him that night and like sent him a picture of us side by side, and like he followed me and responded to it, and like, yeah, it turned into this whole thing. You know how like him, me, and Zach Brown kind of look like we were triplets.
Oh my God, I can see the Zach Brown thing too. That's so funny.
Yeah,
you gotta learn an instrument and learn how to sing real fast, Andy. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm screwed. Hey, but in
Yeah.
today's age, I could just auto tune myself and I'd be fine.
Maybe.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, man, this has been great. Again, I appreciate your time. Appreciate your willingness to share and educate us on you and on music. All of your socials will be linked in the description to the episode. I'll put the link to your Spotify, Apple Music in there as well. Thank you again for allowing us to be your first interview, and hopefully it's the first of many to come. And just don't forget about the little guys when you make it big, man. That's all I got to say.
Never. Thank you guys so much for having me. Andy Q, it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate
it,
man. Look forward to the letter dropping soon, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
All right, guys.